Hey, look, cause I ain't answering.
Welcome to another Three Aficionados with a very special guest today, the only audience member left. Talk about all things analog, cars, watches, and other dipshittery that we end up going down the rabbit hole on, but all in the name of enthusiasm. So it's good to see you all. It's been a little while. Some familiar faces. We got Daniel on the mic, Peter
Good to be back.
on the pepper. We got Chris on the professional setup, and then we got just me. All right, boys.
Unprofessional.
Let's pop it off. I was going to try to figure out what the hell our phrase was again. It's been so long. We get ready? 3, 2, 1. Ooh, that was
Oh, I
That was
popped
clean.
early that time.
That was real clean.
that's one. And nobody got anything on their laptop.
That was
No.
beautiful.
Not yet. Watch me pour.
No.
Yeah, don't jinx yourself there, Steve.
What are we drinking there, boys? Chris, guest of honor.
So this is from a brewery called, I guess, Far. It's a Pilsner. And I was just hanging out with some people once in the summer, and it's an Alberta brewery, and they liked it. So today I was just picking some stuff up. Like, oh, Pilsner is just nice and easy, and we can explore the rest of the stuff later. But first sip's been good.
Cool.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Why don't we go with the ranking here? We got doctor. Let's go with another doctor. And then we can go with the paramedic. And then we go with the guy whose employment is questionable.
I think that might be potentially me, though.
Yeah, no, that is.
His podcast.
Steve is the least employable person here. Like, job prospects
Especially-
for him. Very
Especially when you
difficult.
find out what I'm drinking here, Daniel, be ready to shame me again.
Oh,
This is a
it's-
Heineken zero
Gross.
alcohol Sun Alcool. Yeah, it's actually pretty damn close to Heineken. I'm not a big fan of Heineken, and this is pretty much how I imagine Heineken is with alcohol in it. So it's actually not bad. Somebody was drinking it when we went out for drinks, and I was having an alcoholic beverage, and I was like, that actually is pretty good. So that's my my shitty contribution today. You can keep on shaking your head, Daniel, while Peter goes and talks about his next drink that is likely fruity or fizzy or both.
That was a pretty shitty contribution. I'm not gonna lie, Steve. Anyways, I don't actually even know what this is. It's called Collective Arts Audio Visual Lager.
Holy shit, that's like the most
Lager.
aficionado kind of drink I've
Yeah,
That
it worked
sounds
out
analog.
well actually
Like an
because I
LP.
just stole it from my dad. So thanks, Dad,
Thanks, Dad.
for working. Yeah, but it's
Peter
yeah, audio visual lager.
Dad on this show.
100%. We should. That'd be a fun guest one day. But yeah, it's by Collective Arts Brewing in Hamilton, Ontario. I've never had it personally before, but it is pretty decent.
From the hammer.
I don't mind it for the first couple
It's
sips.
like steel water. I can't
Mhm.
take water around the hammer. It would taste that good. But nice.
Tastes like iron and sweat.
Kind of looks like a record for anyone watching. It's kind of hard to see because I have my background blurred. There we go. On the one side, and then it kind of just fades into the other side, but it's kind of cool looking.
Daniel, you must be familiar with hammer water. And I don't mean penises.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. Earlier, I mean, I used to go to Hamilton quite often back in the day. A brother of mine went to Mac when he was in a program there studying physics before he switched to U of T. And then an ex-girlfriend of mine's sister lived out there, so we'd go out from time to time. And I've heard things have changed, but if I'm honest, it's like the only city I've been to that I've not felt safe in. But I'll just leave it. I'll leave it at that.
It's the only city I've lived in, and I've lived in many different Canadian cities where I have no fond memories. I did have a mouse infestation in my apartment at the time where I was running my master's, but whatever. What are you drinking?
Oh yeah, I got this. I got a local one here. It's a Mill Street Organic Stout, and The Mill Street Brewery is like 500 meters away from here, so that's about as local as it gets. I haven't tried it before, so let's see how it goes. Typically, I'm not into Mill Street, surprise, but
It's dark, hey? Holy.
I'm actually pretty. I like Mill Street. I don't know why. I think I probably got more into it when I left Ontario.
I think like if I remember back 15 years ago, it was kind of like on the forefront of organic and unfiltered beers on a not microbrewery level, but on a smaller brewery level. When I think back to my university days, the pubs I would go to, they would have Mill Street Organic, but it was probably the only organic beer option on tap. And I went to a lot of pubs, so I feel like I have a pretty decent sample group to draw from there. But yeah, no, actually, this one's pretty good. I would, as they say, I would bang. Yeah, would bang again.
You would bang again.
Yeah, I would bang.
What's on your banger? What you banging on your wrist there, Daniel? We got to leave
Nothing.
wrist to the last. I think Chris has the most special wrist.
Yeah, we got to wait for that until the end because I don't even give a shit what you're wearing, Steve. At all.
Never does.
I'm not wearing my watch because earlier today when I was out, the pin in the strap decided to just break on me.
Oh no, what strap?
So, it was the leather. It was my BMW chronograph with the leather strap, and it's now about 10 years old. So, and it's taken a beating. Like I wore it so many days when I worked in the auto industry because, like they say online, it's not a cheap watch, but it's an affordable watch. So it's something I felt comfortable kind of beating up. That being said, it's a limited edition. You can't get them anymore, and there's not many online for sale. So I don't want to totally destroy it anymore.
Would you change the strap, or would you go OEM with the original? Like
I have the original, which is a stainless bracelet, and it's pretty chunky. I don't really think it suits the watch. I think it actually makes it look more like a Michael Kors chronograph than its own kind of style. So it's just that kind of bracelet that Michael Kors puts on there, or even Fossil, which I just had a hard time saying. So yeah, so I don't know. I think I'll just get another pin for it. Keep the strap. Strap's fine. It's just the pin broke because I'm a klutz. What can I say? Door frames don't hurt enough for me not to walk into them.
I can.
It's just how it is. If they hurt, I'd learn my lesson.
It's like a literal banger. That's what happened. That's what happened to his wrist.
Yeah.
Peter,
she bangs.
Peter, I think we bang together, don't we? I caught
Very
it
potentially.
at least on the right wrist, right? Or
Mustache
no,
like
nope. Coordinate.
There you go.
What are we wearing?
Oh, nice.
Got matching mirrors.
For anyone, I guess, that doesn't know what this is, it is one of the three Casio, G-Shock, John Mayer that Hodinkee released, and in my personal opinion, it's probably the nicest of the three. It's got like a baby blue kind of finish to it. I personally wear this every day at work. I love it. I was kind of concerned the first couple weeks about wearing it, but I bang it off and have no issues with it. But SD's got a couple of them.
I got the original, the OG one. And I gotta say that, like Peter says, in real life, I gotta really rock this a lot. I think it's the primary G-Shock for me. I've been wearing it the most when I'm exercising and just want something to wear around and bang into things and bang. I'm gonna stop talking about banging. Yeah.
What's on your other wrist there, Steve?
Oh, we gotta finish off Peter's wrist.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
What about your other wrist?
I got the Omega Moon Swatch.
Nice.
That is generously shared with Steve. That is currently being worn on my wrist, and I've been wearing it quite a bit. I really freaking like this watch, to be honest. It's super cool. for what it is. I mean, I know it's not a real Omega, but I think it's just kind of cool for being a few $100, and it just kind of has a, I think, really neat story behind it. And yeah, it's what it is. Some people have their own opinions on it, but it's fun watch. I think for the price, and you don't have to be scared about wearing it. Was what I really like. Like, it's just one of those things that it looks good, and you can also wear it, and if it bangs off the wall, it's not the end of the world, right? So
That was my original moon swatch. I got that in Hawaii, and it wasn't going to get much wrist time. So I was like, oh, you want this? And then I was like, oh, actually, I kind of like it. I like knowing that I have it around. So I was like, Peter, just wear it most of the time, and then occasionally it would be nice to fondle it. So I've been replacing that on the wrist. This is the same wrist that was wearing the Mayor. I'm flipping that off because I still got my big reveal on the left wrist, because I got to at least stand up to Chris and his impressive reveal. But this is the Mars moon swatch. So Peter's one, that one that we're sharing is the moon, and this one is the Mars. And this one probably is one of the more hype versions of the moon swatch. I just happened to like be walking out of one of the Rolex shops that we all love and adore, and I just noticed, hey, there's actually a Swatch watch store there that I never even realized was there. And I walked in, and they actually had this just sitting there. So I was like, yeah, I'll take it. They had this one, and they had the Jupiter, the one that's like brownish, brown gray, and it's got orange highlights. And I'd say that on photo, that looks better than in person. And I'd say that this looks about similar to in photo. It's got a nice pop. It's got that kind of nod to the Alaska project Omega.
Yep.
On the red. And I really love it on a Horus strap. I've seen the photos of it with like the red rubber strap from Horus with a little white pinstripe, except it's like 200 US, and I'm like, that's kind of how much I paid for this one. So cool, but is it worth it? The amount of time it's going to be on my wrist? No, maybe not. I like the fact that I can fold this, put this in my pocket, throw it back on my wrist whenever I'm like in shady situations when I'm traveling. So I think that's my plan when I do travel. But the one that's on the left wrist is the one that came out of the safety deposit box. This is the Submariner with the Hulk with the green bezel and the green dial. You can't really appreciate it quite so well in this light. It usually looks kind of blackish when it's not well lit up, but it has this really nice metallic flake that they just don't capture in any other dial now. Can you see it at all? No. This is a shitty job that I'm doing. I'm sorry. But yeah, I thought this was a pretty good one to take to my conference and to take to Vegas. So yeah, that's the plan. These two.
Love it. Oh, that's good. I think two very solid choices.
Chris, you gotta tell us about the big updates to your collection.
Yeah, so I just received a watch in the mail earlier this week. Yeah, and so this here is a Helios C4th, and I guess the focus is not great, but this is the C4th Gen 4, and I'm super pumped about it, and was able to get on the wait list. And I mean, I think the wait list is into the thousands of people, and just when we were, I was like, oh, this would be kind of cool. And but yeah, so then I got an email saying, hey, you are part of the first wave of the pre-orders. So it was very nice to be able to have that. And so the options, and so the way that Helios works, if you don't know, so Helios is a company out of Vancouver, a guy named Jason Lim. He's a guy who just loves watches and obsesses over things, and he just really wants to create a product that he loves, and he's very obsessive with his like quality control. So one of the things about Helios is that for the price point, it just really delivers really well. And yeah, so he's had to, and from what I can see, as we've been getting updates, there's just been issues with kind of sourcing all the stuff, but finally came together. So the options were like a no fuss black dial. This one is the Bahama yellow, and they also had a pastel blue that may look similar to pastel blues that have been popular on the market. And And I mean, Halos has done it in the past, but for me, I like the Bahama Yellow just to have something fun. And I kind of thought it'd be a fun kind of like a throw it on sort of watch. And then I also thought as a fun watch, having a rubber strap would be nice. It comes stock with a black rubber strap, and did not look at Horus because yeah, I was not necessarily interested in spending $200 on a rubber strap. But I paired it with a strap from Crafter Blue, so this is in green, and so it's nice enough. I think it does what it needs to. I find my wrist is like 6.5 inches. So I'm actually always, whenever I look at straps, I always look at like how long is the top part, how long is the bottom half, and seeing how it is. And so it kind of hangs over a little bit on the side. So I mean, if I could, I would have had it just a bit shorter so it doesn't poke out like that. But otherwise, green and yellow, just something fun. And it also matches the school that I went to for my undergrad and for my other programs. And so yeah, so I'm really enjoying it. And I mean, as it is, my wife's like, "Oh, I like this," and so she actually spent most of today wearing it too. So I had other things, but she's liked having it on her wrist too.
Nice. It reminds me of the tack on a Ferrari. That
Oh,
yellow,
really? Okay.
it looks awesome.
And I was kind of doing some research. I guess Bahama Yellow, I think it has origins to Porsche. Yes? No? Anyone? That
Yes,
color?
Bahama yellow is actually a color that they used to have in the early 70s, late 60s, 911s. So there's like some, I feel like it would be in the 70, 69 range. I'm not exactly sure, but it's definitely one of the more vintage Porsche colors. So it'd be super cool to have. Yeah, I think you just need an old 911 now. I think we've
That's
solved
just the next step. Yeah, why not?
exactly. That's dope. So the strap that you got there, I am actually not familiar with that strap company. Maybe I need to look at them to get into a appropriate price range for this
Yeah,
one.
well, and I think like I think I have found because I try to figure out, and I think that there's a lot of manufacturers trying to offer a rubber strap, and basically I feel like it actually just comes in at different price points. You want to get a $20 rubber strap, a $50 rubber strap, 7,500, whatever. And so maybe it was just the targeted ads that found their way into me, but I was like, well, this is good enough. Black Friday was at a price that I was like, I can just try this and see how it goes. And yeah, so I think it's good enough. The thing I would say about this is a bit thicker. Um, and and I guess there are specs to it, so it depends on what you prefer. I actually wanted a different one from a different manufacturer, but they were out of stock of the 20 mil lug width, and so I was like, well, I'll just try this and see, and maybe I'll try that later on. But it does what it needs to for now, and I think it's just a nice, like I said, just something I can throw on for fun, and I'm just enjoying the color. And even today, as my wife was wearing the watch, I was like, oh, I like that. Yeah, I just see it, and so I think it stands out. So I know I enjoy it.
That's awesome. Yeah, my wife was actually just wearing two great watches that well, I guess she's stolen off of me and I've given to her. Two pretty good classics. And every time I see her, I'm like, God damn, if I saw you with that watch in real life, I'd be like running over to you. She was wearing it, started the day off looking for the actual moon watch, Speedy, and I was like, no, that's actually in the safety deposit box. You have the Explorer one that you don't wear. So she put that on, and that looked awesome. And then we went and picked up the moon watch, and yeah, so she looks way better than Peter and I. No offense, Peter.
That's good.
But every time it catches my eye, I'm just like, God, that is such a good watch. But I appreciate it the most when it's on her wrist. Those are two watches I think that just look much better on her wrist. So who's wearing this one more, and who wears it best? You or your wife, Chris?
Well, this only just came in earlier this week, so I've been wearing it the most. It's just today she wanted to have something to throw on because I'm currently on parental leave, and so just enjoying as much as we can in the last couple of weeks we have before I go back to work. And so our newborn is able enough to be outside, so we pack him up, and we actually were gifted a coffee pass from someone, and so it has like 32 different coffee shops that are local here, and so we're trying to hit as many of them as we can. So so she threw that on today, and actually maybe while I can, I'll show you what I was wearing today for most of the day.
Yeah, we have
Because I
to,
have
we have to
my
give you cheers to your brand new addition to your family for sure.
oh yes, I appreciate that, boys. Yeah.
Saying muzzle top, but if I say it, I sound a little racist. But muzzle top.
So again, now I feel like I'm just like giving a side review for Helios because I'm just such a fan right now. But they have this carrying case, so that's what the watch came in. So I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. Well, here's our ASMR here, Peter.
There you go.
Sounds like somebody's gonna slap me with that.
And then
That's your F&M kit there.
so it opens up, and so it actually comes with another NATO strap.
Oh, nice.
So that's kind of a nice value added piece. And
I
then,
like that.
And then this is where the watch is being held, but I don't know if you recognize this strap here, Steve.
Of course I do.
That's right. And
NDC.
so I guess I'll open it up. So it's this is what I've also been wearing around at home. So it's my Seiko SPB 149. Again, the focus not so great, but I put it on the NDC strap, and yeah, I have been enjoying this a lot as well. So again, especially with having a newborn baby, lots of hand washing, a lot of poopy diapers. So things that can kind of just take the hand washing and everything. But yeah, so this is what I was wearing today, just to just be out and about. And so she was wearing this. We both had kind of a green strap sort of option. I may swap this out at some point just to try it out, but for now, I'm enjoying the rubber strap on the Helios for now.
Nice. Well, so NDC is a UK strap maker, and they repurpose parachute straps from old Marine National parachute source. Yep. Chute straps, I guess. And so they have like most of them are like green with a yellow stripe. And so is yours a NATO, or what is the configuration that you have?
I actually was trying to I was trying to figure out what I did. So with this one, it actually is like, so it's like a 2-pass.
Okay.
And so it kind of goes through as it does normally. And then I saw someone said that, just to make it a bit more comfortable, you can kind of fold back the strap here so the metal doesn't touch your skin. And so I actually just folded it back and I trimmed it here. And then I trimmed it here. So then when it comes over, it just kind of hooks in like that.
I think you got a lot more fabric to play around with there compared to mine.
Because when I got mine, it was so long. I was like, what the heck? It was long. So I was like folding it. So I had like, when I had it originally, I had all of it come around like this. I'm like, okay, I've got like 4 layers of webbing on one side and 2 on the other. I'm like, it's cool, but kind of like lopsided. So that's why, so when I saw that video, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'll trim one, then I folded it back. So it's kind of like 3 on this side. And then when I hook it in, then it's like 1, 2, and then the third one there.
Oh, that's really cool. I'm kind of jealous.
Maybe I'll make a YouTube video or something to show like a dedicated
how to.
I have a tiny strap, but it's rare. It's a tiny and rare strap.
Right. So you got, so mine's just like, I wanted like the standard one. I didn't necessarily need to chase anything more. So mine is green and yellow, like Steve said. Mine's got black hardware, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about your NDC strap?
Yeah, I knew that when I took it to the bank, because I put like everything away at the bank because I knew that I was traveling. So all I've got for high valued watches is the sub right now. But I knew I was going to regret that because of the show right now, because I was like, oh shit, Chris is going to have his NDC. I should have my NDC, and then I'm going to have Peter's Speedy, and I'm going to have the Mayor watch. Well, this is the one that I don't have the comparable, but it is on my Tudor Marine National FXD, the blue bezel, and it came with a NATO on its own in blue with a gray stripe, but it was lacking. I wanted the kind of full Marine National vintage experience. And so when I did a deep dive into what straps go well with it, I had found this NDC company, and I think I introduced Chris to it because of
Totally.
how far I went down the rabbit hole. And then when you go even further down the rabbit hole, there's even more rare straps of the Marine Nationale origin that are like green with a red stripe, and then they have like military printings. So that's mine, but it's like super short. But it's super cool, and I love that. It like, do you notice, is yours really bungee, kind of elasticy? That's my favorite aspect of it, because it has a lot more elastic pull than the Tudor.
Yeah, and I haven't handled the Tudor strap yet, so it's very bungee. And what I appreciate, as you or know, Steve, is that it's like a heavy duty like parachute strap, and then the hardware where it hooks, I understand, is from the parachutes as well, and so or that style. So it's like new old stock. So this basically this dude is just like, well, I got a whole bunch of parachute straps. I'll just cut them up and sew them up and send it out to people. So
That's
I'm not
awesome.
arguing with it. Yeah, and you may or may not know, but these straps are 21 millimeters. And so my Seiko is a 20 mil. And so it kind of sometimes, well, I mean, certainly the way that it fits, it kind of bulges out a little bit, but I kind of like that it just kind of keeps everything in place. Because even this one kind of, it can slide a little bit, but because of the way things are, it kind of holds in place fairly well. And I love throwing it on, and I can see it kind of like getting the patina ready, because again, just so many poopy diapers and hand
Oh
washing.
man,
So it's just like, I guess I'm not necessarily in seawater, but there's a lot of water contact.
I think that there's a great opportunity to expand the influence of reclaimed military equipment into watchmaking.
Yeah.
Like, why not use for watch cases reclaimed landmines, for example? There's a ton of those, right? Low risk, high reward.
Zinn is exactly built around that, right? Like, Zinn or Sin, SINN, which is like they have the U-boat, which is built from, I think, U-boat reclaimed
Submarines.
Submarine. I was going to say submariner, submarine material. So their metal is like extra tough as shit, and they feel like wearing a gun, like the Victorinox that Daniel has.
Yeah.
It feels like it's actually like military feel. So that's the cool vibe I get from the NDC strap, and they actually have been used by Tudor to like show off some of their old historical Tudors. So kind of a cool nod to the past, and the fact that Tudor also acknowledges it is super cool as well. So,
Mhm.
but maybe we should get into a tiny bit of news. We've got a ton of things to talk about.
Let's go.
Updates. One thing I really want to talk about is just something that's a little bit topical, because I will be going to Vegas, and I'm going to be checking out the boutique at AP. And AP recently launched a bunch of brand new models, and the most interesting, I gotta say, is this Royal Oak Jumbo extra thin white gold 39 millimeter. And it has this beautiful dial that I think is completely new. They've never had before. And it just goes to like, it almost looks like a starry night kind of sky. They call it Bleu Nuit Nuage 50 dial. So yeah,
Oh, you're French.
I know,
So good.
so bad. But yeah, it looks super cool. I think that I don't know if I necessarily would take it over the regular steel kind of pattern that they have of the dial in blue, but I think it looks awesome. It's super stealth wealth. It looks like a classic, and it's kind of amazing to me that it's actually something that is a modern introduction with a precious metal. I think it's for someone who wants to wear a beautiful piece of jewelry without anyone really noticing how heavy a hitter it is. When you put these on the wrist, they have like such a presence. I can't even imagine going from steel to white gold, what that would feel like. And then for those who want to stand out from a regular AP to have that dial, what do you guys think? Would you go stick with steel? Because like to the passive viewer, you could see, well, maybe this is just a regular steel AP, which is still really cool unto itself as a Royal Oak Jumbo. but this seems even more special. And I think that it goes to the point where you can even see here, like right down to the date window, like they have a really nice matching all the way to the frame, down to the date wheel color. Am I wrong? Danny, you want
No,
to?
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and I think your point of being like stealth wealth is kind of what it is, right? Like already like, oh, it's a, it's AP, and then you look at like, oh, and it takes someone who can recognize, this configuration to really to see what it is or see it for what it is.
yeah, it'll be interesting because this is a limited edition. Like, how many of these actually get out into the wild? I think that I've only seen like one AP Royal Oak steel in the wild, really, in Canada. And that's the unfortunate thing, is there's no AP boutiques in Canada, and the best you can do is just go south, really. There are some shops that I think carry AP, but they're really whittling them down. So literally, I went into a shop not so long ago, when I was in Vegas, when a friend had asked me to take a look out and try to see if I could get him the blue ceramic that like Kendrick Lamar, I think, had. And they had like not very much inventory. And then I actually got really into the brand. The more and more they showed me some of their exhibition pieces, they had the white or silver dial. So I'm pretty hooked, and I'm gonna go with a program where I've got to show up at least annually and try to pull at their heartstrings as to why I should be so blessed to have a 41 AP Royal Oak, and preferably blue dial or black dial, I think. But yeah, I think the other ones, they're really cool, these other launches, but I think the big one that stands out to me is this white gold with the blue dial, and I don't even know what it is that they exactly put, and it's a tapisserie break with grained dial treatment, whatever that is. But yeah, I feel like this would be totally Daniel and Peter combined. This would be a love child between Peter and Daniel.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's got us written all over it.
The other one that I think that I could see Chris in, this has got all the green of Chris here. Touch of yellow. This is their self-winding chronograph, code 1159. They had a big launch of these new updated code 1159s, and I have to say that I was not really a code 1159 guy before when they launched. I think the more and more people are seeing it, the more they appreciate it, and seeing them in person, it's pretty compelling. What's really interesting is like the case back and the mid case actually all have that same kind of Royal Oak kind of edged hexagonal shape to them. So it really has an interesting way it presents, where you still kind of get a bit of a portal appearance here. I don't know what this is. They've been using some interesting fonts. I'm not so sure about, especially when they did their 50th, the 50th, they had like on this rotor, they had 50 ingrained in there or embossed in there. I'm not so sure about that on the back, but they're still beautiful pieces and beautiful movements. So yeah, I'll still be begging when I go down next. This is one other one, this offshore. I think I'm not normally an offshore guy, this 42 millimeter, but this looks like one that would be definitely close to a U-boat, to like a military style approach. This one I think I could see Daniel wearing the most. What would you take now? Who's choosing the white gold, and who's choosing the one that looks like it's military style?
I think I'm going white gold,
Yeah.
blue dial.
As well.
Maybe I'm getting old, but there's something about
beautiful.
this that, yeah, to me, that's what an AP is supposed to look like.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's dope.
My favorite complication still is chronograph, so I'd probably go with one of the ones at the top, like he had said. I mean, green's in vogue, but who knows what the rest of 2023 will bring, whatever the next color du jour will be.
Absolutely. Yeah, so there's been a lot of things that have been coming up in the car fleet potential. Anybody have any updates on things that are incoming cars or watches that they want to share before I, monopolize everything and make you all like spin your head and go like, what the fuck are you doing? I think it's more me trying to respond to the market though, because it's so.
I think you need to get onto the car news, and I'm just going to cut you off when I decide you've gone over time.
Cut me off.
So
let's do a blast.
All right. What's on the top of the list tonight for car news?
Go.
Dr. Stephen, yeah.
Lamborghini, go fuck yourself. Storado put a deposit down. I was told that I was likely to be able to get an allocation. These started growing on me.
Fucking
They
sick.
were limited, and then they're like, "Yeah, actually, you know what? We're not making that many. Go fuck yourself. You're not getting one." So Lamborghini, eat a dick. All right, next up.
Yeah.
All right, GT. This is same vein. Last of the V10s. Pretty much the same platform, right? And this was rear-wheel drive, limited edition, same kind of idea, but obviously not an off-roader. The Storado was the off-roader. I don't know if I was so much aligned to that. I was more an STO or a Technica guy than a Storado. I thought this R8 GT V10 was beautiful, like just gorgeous. Was it really an enthusiast car? I thought it could play a delicate balance. There was enough there for me to put a deposit down. I knew they were only making a very few amount. And I think that there were only going to be like 4 or so coming to Canada. It was 333 worldwide. And this was going to be the last hurrah before they went to some form of electrification, just like the Storado was. And what did they do? They're like, we got one allocation, but why don't you make us an offer? And I was like, what do you mean make you an offer? They're like, well, you're not really even a local seller or local buyer, and you probably have to sign on for a bunch of qualifications. You definitely have to sell it back to us. But you know what? We have other people who have been with us longer, and they've made us a really good offer. But you're welcome to make a backup offer. And I was like,
how about eat a dick?
Yeah. So I was like, so what do you mean like an offer, like MSRP? They're like, well, I was like, what did the other guy give you? And they're like, he gave us, what was it? I think he made us an offer for 500,000. Like, go yourself. Bye. Okay, so Audi, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Next.
So that's 2 automakers. I'm on red list. Okay, so we won't go too crazy. Those 2 we can throw away. I'll never touch an Audi again. But there's still some hope for some possibilities. But things are so difficult to get, as I said. So next up, put it down to deposit for a Honda Civic Type R. Still an enthusiast car. Looks beautiful. This red looks amazing. And they're impossible to get. Apparently Japan is like limiting accepting. They cut off people putting their name down for them. I was number 5. I'm now number 4. Somebody just dropped off the list. When will I get my car? Who knows? Probably 2025 would be the latest. But they did show me the board, which was very transparent and nice of them. So they're still on my
This is hilarious. So far, it's like, hey, Lambo, I'd like to buy a car. Sorry, there's none available. All right, eat a dick. Hey, Audi, I'd like to buy a car. Sorry, there's none available. All right, eat a dick. Okay, I'm going to start to lower the horizons a bit here. Hey, Honda, I'd like to buy a car. There's none available. What the fuck is this?
Yeah. It keeps going. Wait for it. Okay. So I'm still on the list. So Honda, please do not eat a dick. Please still do consider me. I'm number 4. I will happily stay at number 4. And whenever it comes, it comes. And I appreciate the offer. It was Chris Harris's number 1 car of the year. So I'm not pissing this one off. I know eventually I'll get it. I'm promised to eventually get it. That is nice. That is nice to know. They made a hard cut after me. Everything is like, who knows if we'll get any more. But they know that they'll get 4 allocations at least. Latest would be 2025. I can live with that. That's fine. It'd be cool to have it. It'd be cool to experience that. I think these look great. They've gotten great reviews. And in fact, they sound a little weird. The reviews have been like weird, buzzy.
Oh my God.
Weird. Sorry. Like burst right through there. Anyway, so Civic Type R still. Honda, don't eat a dick. Okay, next up.
That's my thought on.
Oh, I'm dying.
I'm moving rapid fire.
That was the best. Right into the mic.
Okay.
I thought I was
Yeah.
muted. Sorry, guys.
Oh,
Feel
God.
free to burp over this, Peter. Can you see
Oh,
this video?
man.
This is the GR Corolla.
Hell?
Go ahead and burp, Peter.
You're making me cry.
Okay, so they call me up for this GR Corolla. They're like, "Hey, we got a demo in." I was like, "Great, good, I'll buy it." They're like, "Yeah, come in. We really want to work a deal." Okay, I'm not going to burn bridges, but let's just say the demo needs to stay a demo. I will get the next car, but it was not the right fit for pricing. So I will not throw any shade. I recognize that they only have one, but this one will not be coming to me. Eventually, I will be getting it. But yeah, this one is also off in the horizon. I think it's more likely in this year or latest next year. But again, hey, here we go. Another car that I can't have. But we won't throw shade yet.
Oh, well.
I'm still holding out hope.
Yeah.
Last update is got to be. No, I can't do it. Here we go. Can you see this? GT4 RS.
Beautiful.
So I go to Porsche and I'm like, hey, you know that I wanted this. You know I need this. And they're like, we know. And I'm like, get me this. They're like, we think we can get you this. So likely I'm probably going to get an allocation for summer or fall of this year.
What?
This is the most inaccessible of all the cars, but it is somehow potentially accessible. So, I mean,
Wow.
there's no promises
That's
being
crazy.
made, but they had 3 sitting there. They're all spoken for to people who are more VIP than me. But this gentian blue with the indigo blue wheels,
Yeah.
gorgeous. And that's
Sick.
That's
I want
beautiful.
shark blue with the indigo magnesium wheels, but I think it's really hard to get the magnesium wheels. I'd want a Visac package all done up. But the gentian, oh my god, it looked so good.
Yeah.
Guards
It's
red
beautiful.
looked amazing with the gold wheels. They all looked amazing. But
That
this
would look
blue,
great with the gold wheels, too.
yeah, it would.
Yeah.
But it might be a little bit WRX STI-ish. So that's
No,
my
it would be
There's
so
still
beautiful.
hope. So Audi and Lambo, go fuck yourself. Porsche, God bless you. Toyota and Honda, we see. But life is still good to be even considered for any of these cars and to potentially have them. But the fact that I'm putting my deposit down all across the board had no impact on my success. It was the one car that I have 0 deposit down on that I likely am to get this year. That's baffling. And when it's a car that nobody can get. But yeah.
Well, I think you've put in some goodwill, or sorry, garnered some goodwill from the folks at Porsche.
It's
They,
a long relationship.
They like you.
Yeah.
It's been a long time now. You've known each other a long time.
And of
It's about
all
time.
the cars that I'd want to keep for the rest of my life, that I'd kill for, that I'd sell maybe a GT2 for, if it meant that I could have the GT4 RS plus maybe something else, it would be this car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a serious conversation.
Yeah. But that's my long run. And I was thinking maybe of bridging this with a 996 GT3 RS that popped up on the market. But, you know, I think that I just need to focus on what's really promising and exciting in front of me. And I think it's that. So I'm putting my eggs in that basket, plus or minus whatever the hell comes out of the hot hatches.
All right. Well, hopefully one of these days you'll be fortunate enough to be allowed to buy a Honda. I don't know if that's going to happen. I can't promise you anything, but I have a feeling like that might happen. CRVs are available probably for you.
Definitely.
They're big enough to carry your dreams around in. And
the fact that Audi, like straight up, like illegally was asking me to match a price that was illegally above MSRP.
Yeah. So presumably that is the dealership itself and not the corporation. And
Really, the dealer.
yeah, so just to clarify, because there's a pretty big difference between the dealers and the brands themselves, and it's been in the news not just recently, but quite consistently, that the dealerships in Alberta and also across Canada are extremely skeezy. And like, if you don't know how to look for any kind of mistreatment, then they'll take you for a ride. So Audi as a brand, I think, has a pretty decent reputation now. It's not like it was back in the day.
Yeah, I would say that this was a dealer, and certainly
It's
that
extremely frustrating.
yeah, that's not the
So,
only dealer I've had that experience with, but this was a pretty blatant one where I was like, "Fuck, are you talking about
yeah,
$500,000?" No, and also it was a backup offer. It wasn't even like you'd get the car. I was like, forget
yeah,
it.
no. I mean, there are other people who have done it, and I've done it as well, where I've gone on the record saying that I've left working within the dealership framework for the most part, due to just what I think are, breaches of ethics. So I'm very, very selective which dealerships I actually work with now, unless I know the back end of things. I'm not really willing to interact with the dealership, because they will try to rake you over the coals. I tell you, no Honda for you.
Well, the thing is that the market is all slowing down. I think we've seen it the most with watches, and I'm really glad that that's kind of bringing it back to more enthusiasts, where people can't just be going crazy, flipping. I mean, obviously, Rolex stainless steel professional watches are always going to go over MSRP for the foreseeable future, at least this decade. But like, it's just it needs to happen more so in cars, and I think that eventually that's coming. It's already
Mhm.
coming. It's just that it hasn't hit all aspects of the market, especially the enthusiast cars, the rarer ones, the ones that are challenging to get, or the like really collector car kind of things. But eventually, all things come down when economies take a shit.
Mhm.
What's everyone's grail? I've already monopolized the time about the cars that I want. Cars, watches, go. Anything. What do you want in the coming years? Doesn't have to be immediate, doesn't have to be practical. Just what
I want to hear from the new dad. I want to hear what he's got to say on this subject.
you dad.
What are his minivan dreams? And
Yeah, well, you know what? I think that obviously the free time has been reallocated in the last little bit, but as and maybe a conversation for another episode, because I think we can fill some airtime that way. But
agreed.
one of the things that my wife and I had talked about was just having a birth year watch. And so I'll just say that we made some attempts to acquire something for the year 2022 when our child was born, and we're successful, and that was really nice. And so actually, so very content right now, like as far as this, my just having a birth year watch for our child, super pumped. And so is actually what I was wearing on my wrist a lot, actually, before kind of these things kind of came to be.
Chris is
But
clearly the much more professional podcaster who has spent the least amount of time in this podcast. But come on, just tell you got to tell us. It's like big news. I was like, you have so many watches to update us on. You're actually like taking over my role, I think. Like, you've got to tell us like what's the big one.
Okay, well, you asked for it, so I guess the teaser happens. So, I guess for for our, this is our firstborn that we have, and so, I was very, we just wanted to make a big move, and so again, appreciate the introduction that Steve had made to go to our local watch store, just to say, hey, you know what, we have a child that's coming before the end of the year. Is there any way we can put her name on the list, just to have something special for our kid? And so what I had hoped for was a 2022 model, like all you can do is ask. So I was actually thinking something classic, like I was thinking the 36 Datejust in green, because it's like it's steel. This dial was released in 2022, and so I said, okay, well, if there's something that comes up, I mean, we'll probably just take it. But if we could make a request, that'd be great. And yeah, and I mean, at least with the store, I have a purchase history with them, and so it's just nice. Again, the warm introduction. And so as the pregnancy progressed, we kind of waited for it, and then just as my wife and I, we both decided to finish work about 2 weeks before the due date, and mostly because when she was going to get her checks, like, you know what, it looks like your cervix. I think this baby's gonna come sooner rather than later. So I actually sent an email like, hey, can we like, I know we haven't like circled back, but can we like come in? Got anything for us yet? Just like, hey, we should just take a look at stuff. So I had a chance to come into the store and look at different options. I mean, for me, I'm the watch enthusiast, so I was like, oh yeah, this is a good option, and this is, these are cool, and I would purchase some of this, or I would consider any of these things. And while my wife has tolerated my conversations with her about the stuff, she's like, well, I kind of know what I would prefer. It'd be nice to get the Rolly. And like, well, we can't just like say, hey, we just want the Rolly. Like, like,
And can I just pause you there?
yeah.
That's the first time we've heard cervix, and it's your wife's cervix, so I do want to be sensitive. But that's the first time that cervix has been uttered on our show, and I think that's a milestone. So
I
cheers.
have never heard that word before. Thank you.
Right. Don't Google
I
it,
learned
kids.
something new.
Don't Google it.
Cheers to that.
Fair enough. Yeah, I guess I should have been. That's too much of my
It's
my
graphic.
work that's just coming through. I guess to say she was getting ready to deliver the baby sooner rather than later.
Like,
Yeah, how many centimeters? Like should we gesture in the show? Anyways,
I had a student who popped the pinky one time, and they got.
Hey, this is his wife we're talking about.
We're not talking about your wife. I'm talking about
he's just on
generally
mishaps
you
during
in med
training.
school, not
Like
the
there are
best.
opportunities
Not
to
the best
learn.
professionalism.
Anyways, so thank you. So anyways, so I was like, well, we can't just like go in and like, but like we can kind of just see and ask, and this was several months ago, but so we were presented with the initial tray of options, and so I think we were considering it like, well, we could go with one of these, but the person who was chatting with us said, well, something just came in, let me take a look and see what we got. And so yeah, they came back and said, hey, we have a Datejust, and a very nice one, let's just say. And so just so pumped. It was so nice, so beautiful. And yeah, and so I tried it on, like, oh yeah, this is so good. And my wife tried it on and she loved it, and she just loved it so much. And so yeah, so now she's actually wearing it a lot, actually way more than me, actually pretty much exclusively her. So
Oh, we got to talk to Dimitri then.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. That's a beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. And
Yeah.
so it's so nice. And so when we get a chance to go out, like I said, we've been doing these coffee dates, and only really today she threw on the Helios, but to be honest, she's usually rocking her DJ, and I look and like, it's so good. Like there's just nothing else to say, but it looks so good.
So is this a
And
situation it looks better on her than you, or who?
I think so, because my wife is a very good looking, elegant, friendly person, and it's just all together, just with her on the DJ, like, this is a classy lady. She's friendly, she's nice, and she knows what's up. So
That's
I'm
cool.
happy that all of this facilitated, and the Datejust is just like, it just fits so well.
Very nice. Very nice.
Well done.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so the ideas, we would have something nice for our son down the road. And so watches are meant to be worn, and understanding, of course, I'm not yet at the point where I need to put everything into a safety deposit box, but for now everything is going to get worn, and we'll get passed on down the road, and there's going to be real life to all of these watches, and so we're so pumped to be able to have these these kind of heirloom pieces in a sense, or just things to pass on, and they have stories behind them.
That's awesome.
And I think even more beyond stories, it's just the relationships, right? Like I think that's the thing I really enjoy too.
So is it on your wife's wrist right now?
Right now, probably not, but not at home. But yeah, definitely when we're going, like, hey, you should put on the DJ.
Well, next
Very
episode
cool.
we have to have a reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it looks good.
And the crazy thing is, I know that that's not even the end to your watch tirade. In the time that since last that we had you on, so stay tuned for more of Chris's exploits and me falling clearly off the map. And like Daniel says, nobody gives a shit what's on my wrist.
Nobody gives a shit about what's on your wrist, and we want to hear more from Chris about cervixes.
Services.
Cervices.
Peter?
I'm not a doctor.
Peter, no future watches.
What?
Cars. Lamborghini.
Nothing. I actually potentially may be looking at a new truck here in the future. Yeah, I may potentially be looking at like a Tacoma or something like that, but we'll see how that goes.
Connect you with the Toyota.
Well, I mean, we'll see. It won't be new, that's for sure. So, but if they got any nice older pre-owned models, definitely I'd be interested. But
The car Sigley can help you there for sure.
Oh, 100%. The boys, I got the right group of people to.
So what's the vintage? What's the year? What do you want?
I don't know. I mean, my truck's a 2009 or 2007, so preferably newer than that. And I don't really like. I am like. I'm so not like. I have not like started looking at all yet, so it's just kind of up in the air. But I have started to like consider the fact that I would like to look at a new truck. And it's not that I don't like what I have, it's just the fact that it's getting old. I mean, it's almost got 300,000 kilometers on it, so it's I think it's just time for an upgrade. And that won't be like a major upgrade, but I'm thinking probably like, I don't know, potentially like 7 to 10 years newer, depending on what the market's like. I gotta see though how vehicles are, because vehicles are freaking expensive right now. So but
Yeah, but it would be nice for you to have a truck that has an engine where all of the cylinders run, and also you have more than just 3 wheels. That'd be nice. So yeah, I'm sure we can find something for you that exceeds those previously required things.
Exactly. Yeah, we can figure it out. So yeah, it'll be good.
Absolutely. Tacoma, gotta get one.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's probably the choice.
Yeah.
But
I feel like the Duster, it would be best suited to afford.
Oh, they're so beautiful, but they're so expensive.
Yeah, bro.
You doing like crazy off-roading and jumping out with your,
so crazy.
your paramedic outfit on, mustache wiggling.
Bronco Raptor.
It's a bit tough. That's a tough sell.
I feel like
they're beautiful, but I'll tell you, the prices are just crazy.
Why don't we talk about this stuff on another episode? Chris had a great idea about 45 minutes ago where he said, let's
you shut the fuck up.
Some stuff for the next time.
No, we don't know when the next time is, Daniel.
We haven't talked in a couple of weeks, and then the cameras rolled. And Peter's like, I have this watch on. Oh, but also I have this watch on. And I know it's been a while. I have this other watch I'm wearing. And Steve's like, I want to talk. I want to talk. I want to talk. I want to talk. And I have these 3 watches on. And I'm like, oh my God, what happened?
No. Fucking watches here. Go fuck yourself, Daniel. You penned me up here. I'm like a high school raging teenager. I just got to get my services on.
No, you're all pent up there. But I think that's a good point to end, because my connection is going to die.
Daniel's going
to, and maybe I'll talk to you guys sometime in the next year.
Make sure you load up some minutes on your card there, your internet service there.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that for sure.
Well, brothers, it's always a pleasure. Chains on the dash. As we
Chains
say.
on the dash.
Full watches
Services.
Those services dilated and get them Rolexes. In fact,
I'll just make sure my wife like does not listen.
never
to this
let her watch this. Please
block
don't,
it.
please
Yeah.
don't listen to this. Please don't play this for your child.
Put the services on the dash.
Services on the dash.
Have a good
All
night.
right. Peace out, y'all.
Peace.
Hey, have a great night, guys.